What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Netflix's Assassin's Creed show. So, this is something that I probably wouldn't have normally done on this channel, but I felt like Assassin's Creed, Netflix show, it feels like it's something that I think would fit the mold here. So, I want to talk about it. I know, the title. Look, I'm not sold on it. Now, I'm a generally an optimistic person, so I do want to talk about both sides of it, but I do think we'll find out, and maybe I'll change my mind, but I think as of right now, I am on the side of you probably shouldn't do it, but I will give you a chance like I pretty much do for everything, okay? Now, really quickly, before I jump into that, if you guys do like this kind of stuff, and I would for sure, by the way, no matter what I feel about this, I would for sure watch it, I would for sure cover it, so if you guys do like that, make sure you like this video, subscribe, bell icon. Also, I have a second channel, Podcast Now Plus. I normally do news videos pretty much every single day on that channel, so if you guys haven't subscribed there, again, Podcast Now Plus, link for it is in the description below, okay? So, look, Netflix is doing some amazing things. That's where I think, I guess early on, like the very first time I saw, like literally the second I saw that Netflix was doing Assassin's Creed, the first thing I thought was not a good idea, not something that I think needs to be done, something that I think has more potential to fail than to be good, okay, like those kind of things. But what I will say in defense of Netflix is, I mean, they are making it possible, not even in just the gaming world, by the way, because they have a lot of garbage, and Netflix, for other things, even for a specific thing that happened around a month or so ago that made the news and crashed their stock market and stuff like that. I mean, there's some terrible people there. There's some terrible directors that they find for things. They do some really bad stuff, but they also do some really good stuff. It's unfair to say all they do is garbage, right? They do have some. I mean, even me, I don't like go on Netflix. I don't like search things, but I know there's a lot of I don't want to say hidden gems because that is a Netflix, that is an Adam Sandler movie, but there are a lot of good stuff, movies, TVs, original stuff too. So they do some really good stuff, and you see even what they're doing now in the gaming aspect. I would consider Witcher. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's not just the game, but I would consider Witcher, a big step into that kind of light. Okay, and they did a tremendous job. Okay, a lot of people really like that. You see what they're doing for Resident Evil, and I think Resident Evil has potential. It's interesting because when Resident Evil happened, I kind of did. It was more of a thing. I gotta be honest with you guys. It was more of a thing where I just didn't care. It's not like I was like, oh my god, like this is gonna be the greatest thing of all time. And it also wasn't, this is a terrible idea, you're gonna ruin Resident Evil. So you could say, well, why are you doing it for Assassin's Creed? And that's a good question. I mean, ultimately, I think it just comes down to your taste. I do love Resident Evil. I think I'm loving it more and more every single year. I do respect that franchise, and I hope that Netflix does that franchise justice. I like a lot of the cast that they said for that Netflix live action show, so I hope it's good. I hope that they're taking into consideration what happened in the games. And now for this, they're working with Ubisoft on it, so they do have potential. Again, I really do think they have potential to make this well, firstly, it's going to be better than the movie. I think anything will be better than the movie. Now, I will stand very firm on that movie. It wasn't the worst movie of all time. It wasn't the worst gaming, adaptation movie of all time. I would say it was one of the most boring movies of all time, though. Michael Fassbender was, in my opinion, like the perfect pick to play in that movie. But again, they chose the direction of, let's focus on the Animus, let's focus on the current time, let's focus on getting him into the Animus, and then we'll have him, back in time as an assassin for roughly 10 to 12 minutes. And those 10 to 12 minutes were actually really amazing, and I loved it. And then the other, however long that movie was awful. And it was way too long. And honestly, I've watched that movie one time. I watched it in theaters. I think it came out around Christmas time, right? Because I remember watching it in December. I went to see it. And was that movie one that had like 5 different endings? It was one of those movies that like never ended. Like it had an ending, you thought it was going to end, and then it did something else, and then that ended, and then it did. I'm pretty sure that's how the movie ended. Very also much setting up a second one. Tragedy that I never got one. But no, I mean they did some okay things in that movie, like a few. Like literally you could probably count on your hand how many. And they did a lot of things wrong. And I guess the question I would ask is, for the show, what's going to make it different? Like, are you going to work with Ubisoft in the same way that the movies worked with Ubisoft? Like, how are you going to do it? Again, I think with Netflix, with what they've done recently, I think that they have a pretty okay track record. Now, with that being said, Witcher. Are there any others that are like gaming things? I mean, they're starting to enter, and if I'm forgetting one, it's going to make me look really bad. I'm terribly, terribly sorry. I try to pride myself on my knowledge, on knowing things based off the top of my head, so I'm not looking it up. I don't want to look it up. So if I'm wrong, I'm just going to be wrong. But they're getting in there, right? They're doing a Resident Evil. They're doing, this one, Assassin's Creed. If these are successful, I think the future is way brighter, where it's like, okay, they've tackled 3 now. Again, maybe you don't count The Witcher, but I will. They've done 3, and now as you keep going, could they tackle something else? Could they do like a Gears of War? Could they do and I know some of these have also been, petitioned, or even like early conceptions of like a movie too, or like a BioShock thing. Like, could they handle those kind of things? I would say wait until these ones. That's where I come from with this Assassin's Creed thing, is that it's a situation where they're still in like their test phase. Like, I don't have complete confidence in them right now. Much like, honestly, any movie adaptation. Like when you do a Tomb Raider movie, when you're doing right now an Uncharted movie, when you've done the Resident Evils, when you've done all of these movies, none of them, I think, have sold that you can make a good adaptation, or one that's very not even good, but one that is literally worth you doing it. And that's where I stand. That's why the title is like this for Assassin's Creed. That's ultimately where I come down. I honestly believe on all of this stuff. That's my biggest issue with the Uncharted movie, where it's like, if you're gonna do it, it's not even about being good or being bad. I mean, obviously, if it's bad, I personally will destroy it, because Uncharted means the world to me. Don't mess with that, okay? Especially if you're gonna do it harm, don't even touch it. And that's my motto, okay? If you're gonna do an Uncharted movie, it better be good. It better match, which is hard. It could be impossible, but it better match the games. Otherwise, don't do it. Because if you're going to set out to make a product in a different medium, the movie industry, but you're not going to do it justice, and it's not going to be good, or not, and again, not even that, but it's not even going to stand up to the games, okay? It's not even going to be able to match them. Don't even do it. Don't even try it unless you're confident that's going to happen. And what's happened pretty much every single time we've gotten these movies that were based on games, they've never worked. So Jumanji was a movie in a game, but it wasn't, based off of a game. You know what I mean? So that one did work. But for the most part, that's why with Uncharted, it's like, okay, if it comes out, it's incredible, and it matches, even like Uncharted 1, which is a really good game, but it's not all that good compared to the other Uncharteds. If it matches Uncharted 1, fine, then I guess, you had every right to, in general, they have every right to do whatever they want. I have every right to criticize them and not see it if I want to. And again, connecting it to Assassin's Creed, that's where I stand. It's I love the franchise. Obviously, I think for me personally, I love like the Ezio arc. That was a really, in terms of storytelling, in terms of what they did with the character there, and even the gameplay and the mechanics they introduced. I mean, they were on fire during that stretch of 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. Even Revelations, I thought was really, really good and better than most of the other games. That was their trio that I think they should always be very. And again, they've had other good games, but those 3 they should be very proud of. So again, when you're making a TV show, don't do it and I get it. I mean, obviously, when you go into any of these things, you're going to say that you can, right? Everybody's going to be. If you're not confident, then why do it in the first place? So I get it. But, I am asking kind of like in a future thing, right? Where it's like, okay, well, when the product is done, when we are seeing the product, if it's bad and if it doesn't even hold a candle to the games, why did you even do it? You know what I mean? Because maybe there was an indication somewhere when you were filming it or developing it that you were like, yeah, you know what? This isn't going to touch the games. It's going to be different. People probably will hate, and stuff like that. Again, I don't think anybody ever goes into it thinking, yeah, people are probably going to despise this and we shouldn't do it. Obviously, you have to be confident. But again, do it right. Do it right, or don't do it at all. And I think that's what The Witcher did very well, okay? I think Resident Evil is on the right track. I think that the casting, again, is really, really good for that. Now, again, if it's bad, then I'm going to lose some of that confidence, but I think they're going down the right path with Resident Evil. And then for Assassin's Creed, same thing. It's, okay, well, we got to wait for casting. We got to wait for what their plan is. And bigger than all of that, much like, it is a joke, honestly, at this point, but much like literally everybody has said in the comments to that Assassin's Creed thing happening, is focus on the past. Focus on being an assassin. Don't focus on the future of being a person going in the Animus. I mean, I don't get it. At this point, it literally has always been the worst part of every single game that it's included in, and they know that. Ubisoft knows that. I mean, I don't know how you don't know that at this point. Same thing with the movie. I don't know how you make that big of a mistake, because yeah, the movie was several years ago, but even at that time, they had to have known the biggest weakness of Assassin's Creed was the current day stuff, and the best strength was being the assassin. And they made the movie literally like 90% current day. With Michael Fassbender trapped in that whatever situation you want to call it. That's what they made the movie on, and that was just not a good idea. The show, well, we've gotten even more examples, right? I mean, again, the positives of the game are not the current day stuff. It's always the past. So hopefully the show does that. If they do that, honestly, there's a chance right there. That's automatically one thing you can do that just makes it, like, no matter what, it will make it better. And then you just have to keep going from there, right? So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Are you excited for this show? Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think that maybe it's just not even worth it, that they should probably just leave it alone? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. Again, if you guys are not subscribed to my second channel, Podcast Now Plus, the link for that is in the description below, along with all of my other social media stuff, okay? Thank you guys for watching so much, and I will see you all on the next video.